Good morning and welcome to the Treehouse. This is Kag, and I'm here for a View from Above tarot reading for Thursday, the 26th of September. And I deeply shuffled these before I started the video, so this is the last little shuffle. And this morning we're going to do a reflective reading for today. And this is for the collective. So take what resonates for you and leave the rest. This is the Radiant Wise Spirit deck, and this is my newer deck. And it is a Rider-Waite Smith deck, which was illustrated originally by Pamela Coleman Smith. And this has been redone by, I believe it was Ciro Marchetti. And so the colors are a little darker with this deck than they are with some of the others. At any rate, we're going to do this reflective reading today. And this is our current energy. This is the influence or the challenge that needs to be integrated. This is our unconscious mind that kind of frames what's going on today. These are the past influences that are at play. This is what's on our conscious mind today. And this is where the energy is going forward from where we are at this moment. And at the bottom of the deck is our Merryweather card, which will give us a blessing at the end of this reading. So as I say, this is a collective reading, so take what resonates for you and leave the rest. If you have a question in mind, bring it up now, and perhaps this reflective reading will have some kind of inspiration or wisdom for you as we walk through the cards. So this morning we are looking at the Three of Wands, which means that we are in a place of waiting. We have sent the ships out into the sea. We've done everything that we need to do to get them out into the world, and now we're waiting for them to go where they need to go, or we are waiting for them to return to the harbor. But this is a card of waiting. It's will and determination, which is characterized by the wands. And he is standing barefoot at the top of this cliff as he's seeing his ships out in the water. And so that makes me think that he needs something, right? He needs his shoes, although he is really dressed in quite a nice robe with that checkerboard on his robe, which is interesting because that checkerboard shows up in a couple other cards, the Ten of Pentacles and in the Hierophant. But he is barefoot, and so that seems to be interesting to me. It's like, where are his shoes? Where did he leave them? There's something raw about being barefoot, right, where you can feel the ground in your feet. And so there may be something about that this morning as we are thinking about what we have put into the world and are waiting for it to come back to us. Sometimes when I have read about meditation, that it is good for us to get out into the world and feel the actual earth under our feet, to go barefoot in the grass. So perhaps there's something there about, feeling grounded today as we wait for whatever that is to come into fruition. So here is the card of what needs to be integrated. And what is that influence? And that is the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is the gift of clarity and logic. And it is a gift also of puncturing through old forms. So you can see that this sword has punctured up through this crown. So whatever was in place before is now, we understand it a little differently. And these are the fronds of the olive branch on this side and the laurels on this side, and that is for peace and for victory. And we've got the 6 yads here, which point to the Lover's card, which is the card of a mature choice. So we have some energy around choosing from a new place, from a new perspective that needs to be integrated. And so how that would respond to our waiting here, our being grounded here, sometimes our thoughts can be a little flighty, and so perhaps we're being reminded to stay grounded as we sort of apprehend whatever this logic and clarity is, because this is a whole new perspective, and this is the hand of the universe handing us this new perspective. So the frame of reference we're coming from this morning is the Seven of Cups. And that Seven of Cups is a card, as all cards are. We have a positive and a negative spin on it. And so the positive spin on the Seven of Cups has to do with dreaming about what is possible. And this is a very emotional card of thinking about what is it that we want? What is it that we want to do? What is it that we want to achieve? And perhaps that is what we sent out into the world. And the fact that we are barefoot and grounded here, we have this idea of what it is that we want to achieve, but we need to stay grounded as we put that together. This card can be one of distraction or sort of emotional upheaval, right? Cups being the suit of emotion. And so as I look at this, I'm thinking, okay, this is a grounded energy here, but we have flights of fancy. We also have something new that we understand. So let's look at the past influences, and we have the Page of Swords, and the Page of Swords carries messages. He's also new at wielding his logic and his clarity here. And so this may be a new position for us to be in, that we now have some access to logic and clarity, and we really don't know exactly how to wield it. This fellow tends to be a little closed-minded. He doesn't really want to reveal a lot about himself to other people. He feels a little vulnerable, but he's also quite adept at whacking away with that sword. Now, recently I have read that the pages specifically have a message for us. So I'm going to leave the Merryweather card here at the bottom. And I'm going to reshuffle here to see if there is a message in particular from this page. And I kind of like that idea, that if a page is drawn, that there is another card that needs to follow to give us some sort of indication of what that page's message might be. So we'll shuffle one more time. And we'll cut. And we'll take the top card to see what the message from the page. And again, this is a past influence. And what I see here is the Nine of Wands. Now, the Nine of Wands is the card known as the Wounded Warrior. Sometimes it's a PTSD card. But it's also the guy who hung in there, right? He got through the war. He learned all the lessons that he needed to know. He's got boundaries here that protects him. And so when I think about this sword that the page is holding, and the fact that he feels vulnerable in other people's company, makes me think that he is pretty guarded. And maybe that is the message of the past, is that as we put things out into the world and we are meditating with our feet on the ground here, that we need to be somewhat protected and maybe wise about what we are expecting to come back here. Remember that we are coming from a framework of what's possible and or distraction. And sometimes when we are distracted, we miss something. And so perhaps the message here is keep your boundaries in place. Keep your boundaries in place while we are waiting for these ships to come back. Even though we've got this great clarity, we don't want to let this go. So what's on our conscious mind today? We have the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is a card of conflict. And sometimes this can be a conflict of words. It can be criticism from other people that make us doubt ourselves. But you can see in this card, he's picking up the swords. Well, I guess he could be putting them down also. But my feeling about this card is that we are done fighting. I'm not going to fight about this anymore. And it perhaps is, fighting with our own selves about what it is that we want to do. What is it that we're dreaming about? What have we invested in? And what we're done fighting about. So look at the swords here. We've got 3 swords. And that is a lot of mental energy. We've also got a lot of determination here. And we've got a lot of cups to think about. So there's a lot of emotional upheaval here. There's some real clarity and some self-protection in our expansion about whatever it is that we have launched into the world here. So where is this energy going? it is going to the Six of Swords. And so the Six of Swords is moving from troubled water to something that is a little calmer. We have our boatman taking the woman and the child to a better place on the other side. We can't actually see where that is yet, but that's where we're headed. So this is a lot of swords. We have the 5, the conflict. And this is the card that follows the conflict. So 5s are cards of transition and change. And sometimes when we get the 5s of any suit, it's like, okay, that's not working. What do I need to do something else? So perhaps we have these ships out into the world. We've had some kind of new revelation about whatever this distraction or this sort of murky dream idea is. We recognize that we need to be a little more thoughtful about how we protect ourselves, to be done with the conflict, and let's move to a little bit calmer ground. This feels like it has been kind of a struggle to get here. This new project that we put out there has really caused us to rethink things, or at least to come to terms with some new understanding about what it is we're trying to do. And as a result of letting go of the conflict, we are ready to move to calmer waters. But it does look to me like they are a little sad about this. And so some recovery is needed, I think. But this is definitely a change of some sort. And my thought as I look at this is really he's putting those swords down. We're all done fighting about it. So let's look at Merryweather here. And I see the 2 of Wands, which is actually going back and revisiting a plan. Recognizing that there are some things that cannot be changed and some things that can, but to be really cognizant of the fact that there are some limitations that we just cannot change about our situation. And so looking at this spread, we've got will and determination in these 3 cards. We've got 4 swords, which is logic and clarity, and we've got some emotion here about not really knowing exactly what it is that we want. We have launched this project, but it has kind of gone into a hiccup state at this point. But we are being gifted with the idea of let's go back and look at what it is that we really wanted here. Recognize those limitations, know what it is that we can do, and let's move to this calmer place and start again. And it seems to me that in the last 2 weeks or so, this restarting has happened a number of times. And so whether that is really coming from my own frame of reference, which it likely is, it may be true for you also. So that's what I have for us at the Treehouse here this morning on Thursday. If this was helpful for you, I hope that you will like, share, and subscribe. And I invite you to come back again tomorrow for another View from Above tarot reading here at the Treehouse with me. Blessings.